Did the architect we just saw in the 5x10 video do a lot of drawing when he was a kid?
Probably. Did you see the renditions there?
I wouldn't be surprised. And it makes you wonder how many of the children whose work is on exhibit behind us in the BRIC Gallery will also grow up to be artists or architects or media makers. Who knows?
The future. Yes. It's an impressive display of youthful creativity out there. All part of this year's Classroom as Studio exhibition, and all of the work, believe it or not, taught here from students from pre-K to high school, all coming from Brooklyn and Queens. And here to tell us more are two of BRIC teaching artists who participated in this project. We have with us Judy Richardson. Thank you so much for being here, Judy.
Thank you.
We also have Liam Billingham. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Welcome, welcome. Yeah. As you probably have figured out, we love the kids and we love seeing them grow and their eyes lighting up. And so why don't you tell us what schools you guys were involved with?
I worked with students in Campos High School, which is in Williamsburg, and we did a mold making project where they learned a very complicated process about how to make rubber molds and then cast plaster relief sculptures from them.
Very cool. Very cool.
Man, what about you, Liam?
I was at PS 297, Abraham Stockton, which is up in Bed-Stuy, and we did sort of a documentary piece about their neighborhood. So we essentially asked them, what do you like about your neighborhood and what do you dislike? And they drew some pictures and we used those to create just a bunch of short video essentially, and little clips of interviews with them talking about their drawings as well.
Oh, very cool. I think we actually have a clip of that documentary.
Speaking of video, let's take a look.
I mean, good afternoon.
You're videotaping us walking?
We had to draw pictures of what we like about community and what we dislike.
Compare and contrast the good things
and bad things in our community.
Well, my community. This picture right here is a picture of Marcy Market, and this is a picture of someone, you know, like the poor person that's sleeping in the box. The reason why I put these two side to side, because it tells a story. Because whenever something that's good is when a new store opens. So when it opens, I go and buy stuff, and when I see someone poor and I walk by them, instead of giving them money, I'll give them food instead. So that's what I'll explain.
Well, I can't really draw, so it probably looks a little sloppy. This picture I drew, like somebody bullying somebody else, like they pushed them into the ground out there by the park. I see a lot of people sometimes going around just bullying people for no reason, and I feel like that needs to be fixed. I drew a siren. If I were to go to sleep, I would hear noise, and like every day when I go home, I just hear noise and I see things going by.
This picture is about how a person was gonna buy something, but he didn't have enough money to buy it. So then someone else came in and gave him the money to buy the item. It actually happened to me. Someone gave me exact money to buy the item I wanted.
Oh, children, I know, right? The kids, this is like the day of children.
Yes.
But how did you get involved to choose that particular project, that particular topic for these kids?
Well, one of the things that's sort of unique about being a teaching artist is you're not coming to it so much as a teacher as you are as an artist. And like one of the things that I think, and Judy can speak to this too, is that you sort of pursue what's interesting to you while still bringing predominantly the kids' ideas into it, right? So when we stepped into it, I come from a fiction filmmaking background, but I've been getting more into documentary. So one of the things that we tried to do was to be like, well, let's bring kind of a hybrid approach in the sense that like we're gonna have them tell their stories, but they're gonna reenact things. They're gonna act some things out, right? So it was that kind of curiosity, like how do we get these kids to engage like somewhat, talking about their own experience, but then taking their own experience and kind of acting that out on another level, like was something that was kind of interesting.
So, and they came up with that? So like the little vending machine exchange, that student came up with that?
They came up, well, it was something that happened to him. Like what actually happened is he went into a deli,
okay.
he didn't have enough money, and someone was like, oh, here's $1. And so I said, okay, well, we don't have the time to go to a deli, even though there was a guy down the street who would have done it. It was like, we have like 10 minutes to do this because of the nature of it. And he said, well, there's a vending machine, and we just went and we did it. And we shot it traditionally like you would shoot a movie. We made a shot list, we put it together, and then we mixed it with his actual experience to make it a little more than just, kind of a reenactment. It was kind of something beyond that, I feel
It
like.
worked. I like that part
Thank
a lot.
you. Yeah, I like it too.
Spontaneity, too.
Yeah,
being able to
absolutely.
think on their feet. That's a great talent to teach children.
So Judy, let's talk about your process. It sounded complicated. I've never done it before.
Definitely not a sculptor.
Right. How did your kids react to the overall project at first, and how did that develop over the course of the project?
At first, they were a bit hesitant and didn't know what I was talking about. I get up and say, well, we're going to do this, and it's going to be this, this, and this. And I'm like, moose.
Yes.
But once they saw my own training was, I went to school for sculpture and I learned a lot of different processes. I know how to use all kinds of different tools. I've worked in scenery and on opera and rock and roll, and so I know how to set up, steps for a complicated process. And so once they got into it, then they kind of got on a roll, and they were great. And they actually came and installed their own work here yesterday in the gallery, which opens tomorrow. 6 to 8, the BRIC Gallery. But the idea for the project, my theme for the project was about ancient Mesopotamia. And the reason I came up with that is because I thought that because of what's in the media right now about Iraq and Iran, most people think about ISIS, and they think about the war, and they think about guys coming home injured, and they don't know about the glory of ancient Mesopotamia and like the incredible innovations and the artwork and the history and how beautiful it was and how incredible and magnificent it was. So the Ishtar Gate was one of the original 7 wonders of the world, and it's a beautiful structure with glazed bricks, brightly colored, sparkling. And the animals on the Ishtar Gate are in relief, meaning they come away from the surface. And so that was the nature of the project. And I told the students that we talked about ideas about power and protection, which is where a lot of the imagery in ancient Mesopotamia came from. So they came up with their own ideas about power and protection, what that would look like to them. Some people made a pit bull, some people made a sword, some people made rosary beads. It was whatever their personal ideas about power and protection became the imagery that they used to make the relief sculpture.
I love that. I love that. So you're primarily a sculptor?
Yes.
Very nice. So what are some of the mediums that you work with?
I use a lot of different materials. I especially use a lot of materials that were parts of people's lives that I take apart, and I use the parts and then construct new things to go with them. So I take apart furniture, sometimes clothing. I have a series of work in the gallery made out of bicycle tires.
Cool. Those are belts, I see? Or
yes, there's belts and rubber, and there's some silverware. This was based on the people I saw in the Occupy movement camping down in that park. I just thought it was amazing to go into a lower Manhattan and see people sleeping there and eating piles of food and clothes and books in the park. And this, anyway, so these, the tire jars, I'm very interested in the way people make things all over the world and what they make and what they choose to make it out of. And sometimes they don't have the material that would be the ideal thing, but they come up with a different solution.
Very cool.
And I try and pass that attitude on to students.
It's obvious, like your ideas and tangible things that they see as protection, you're bringing the kids' minds into their experience into the work. So this all sounds amazing. So when, where, how do we get to see this?
Yeah. Plug one more time.
Yes.
Well, it opens tomorrow. It's from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. is the opening, and then it's on display every day, I think, except Mondays. Mondays for the next month.
Okay.
So
of course.
Opens tomorrow night. Tomorrow's the opening night.
Awesome.
Anything that you guys want to add to bring people to come in and look at this exhibit?
There's a really wide array of work down there. There's sculpture, painting, video, film, there's animation, so children and adults alike, I think,
Yeah.
would love it, and you can really see the hands of the children and the students in the works.
And I think the other thing that's exciting is there's a lot of artist work. I have a short film I made about divorce from a child's perspective, which is, I'm making another film about it now. And then another teaching artist, Sean, has this incredible film. He went to, I think it was Ghana recently, and made a documentary. And like, I watched it with no sound in the gallery space and like teared up. I was like, whoa, it's really powerful stuff.
Truly
Definitely worth
multimedia
checking.
exhibit going on here at the BRIC Gallery.
Thank you both for being here. We appreciate you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.